What is up, everybody? So, with the announcement of the Yu-Gi-Oh ban list today, I'm going to be bringing you guys what I would believe to be some of the best decks going into this new format. Now, for a lot of you players who are veteran players who are skilled at the game, very knowledgeable, this is pretty much kind of common sense. But you guys already know in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, sometimes common sense is not so common. Plus, also, not to mention as well, a lot of you guys may have either A, think one deck might be better than the other, or B, think certain decks might not be as good. So this video will be open for debate. Before we get to the actual video, I'm going to ask everyone who is already here to like the video, to support the channel, and if you're new here, subscribe for more. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Without further ado, let's begin. First up, number 5 on my list, Sky Strikers. Yeah, that's right, Sky Strikers. The deck that everyone said, oh my god, Kagari is going to 1, the deck's trash. Well, fun fact, in the OCG, Kagari is at 1, and the deck still does relatively well. Now granted, OCG does have Maxi at 3, but in my personal opinion, the reason why Sky Strikers still do as good as they do is because of this card right here you guys see on your screen, Sky Striker Mecha Module Multi-Roll. The ability to reset your spells over and over again is just mind-boggling to me. Literally, they can sit on their one blue Sky Striker, can't think of the name, so don't ask me, the one that searches out from the deck to the hand, and the other ones all day long, as long as they have multi-roll for backup. A good first turn play with Sky Strikers is crazy, and then not to mention as well, with Kagari at 1, they can still, recycle for their first good time. So I'm a firm believer that if they get a good, strong opening, which this deck can do pretty consistently with 3 engages at 3, you're in a good position. One Kagari, that's all you need, and you're good to go. The only thing that sucks about getting Kagari hit in this deck, that it's going to hurt the deck's grind game against decks like Solomon Grayson, etc. But against most of the roguish decks like Orchis, the Dino OTK players, Heroes, Trains, and etc., the deck's still going to be decent. So with that being said, I have to have on this list at number 5. Alrighty, number 4, Pendulum Dummy. Now, I probably pronounced that wrong as heck, but Endymion, the Mighty Master of Magic, pretty much broke an already broken deck. Pendulum as an archetype, as a mechanic, has already been a pain in everyone's asses since the release of the mechanic, pretty much Master Rule 3. And the Mighty Master of Magic is no joke. His effect pretty much reads, this picture is kind of blurry for whatever reason. The only images I could find of this card was either Japanese or extremely small to the point where I couldn't even blow him up. But essentially what he does, he can bounce back a guy on your board with a spell counter to negate I believe a card effect, and if you do destroy that card, and then while he has a spell counter, he can't be targeted by effects. And that's insane. It's 2800 beater. He's a scale 8, allowing you to make your Pendulum plays. Honestly, all Pendulum decks run him, because the Pendulum deck as a whole right now is Pendulum Magicians, going based on the anime, I believe. So with him, with his negating effects, and Pendulum already having the Vortex Dragon, and the whole goal of the Pendulum deck being to just spam to the board anyway, this is going to be a force to be reckoned with for the next format. And honestly, the Magician version of the Pendulum's deck is just dirty because, yeah, the Spellcaster variant originally before Endymion and the supporting cast for the archetype, before they were okay. They did their things. If you let them get on the field too long and set up, they win. But now it's way more consistent, and honestly, the deck is already doing pretty good on the local level. We haven't had too many regionals where it's done great just yet. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. I just haven't seen any videos of this deck topping personally. So with that being said, I still predict this deck to be a number 4 deck on the list. A little bit higher than Sky Strikers because, like I said, once again, this ain't the OCG, so I don't think Sky Strikers are going to do as good as they are doing still out there. But with that being said, with Pendulums being pretty much damn near at full power and a lot of people loving the archetype, I can definitely see this deck being higher on this list and competitive level in today's meta. Next up, Thunder Dragon Danger. So everyone already knows this is a deck that has been around for a while now. Very frustrating deck, very OTK heavy deck. Saryuja should have gotten hit. All I've seen on my timeline since I've settled down from the ban list was Saryuja should have gotten hit. Now, Saryuja is a card that's used in his deck, as a lot of you guys already know. You draw out I believe 4, pit back 3. You can set up your board because the Thunder Dragon deck spams a lot of light and darks, and they go for either OTK push. They can draw through the deck with Saryuja. They can do the damn deck can do a lot. Only downfall is the deck can brick because it does run a lot of those high level banish 1 light 1 dark type of monsters. But with that being said, the deck is fairly good and fairly consistent. And all honesty, I wouldn't even be surprised if pure Thunder Dragon make a comeback and just take over this number 3 slot because of how good it can be in the current meta. The main issue with Thunder Dragons in the past was Sky Strikers, and with Kagari being hit, I can definitely see Thunder Dragons slowing the deck down even more, and with people not being able to recycle their Kagari a lot, they're going to have a hard time, and they're going to give people a hard time. The biggest threat for Thunder Dragons in the current meta is obviously going to be Salamangreats, because Salamangreats is just an awesome deck. And, you know, by Salamangreats having their XYZ monster, who states that when you link them off into a Salamangreat monster, you can bounce back the monster on board. It allows Thunder Dragons to not put the pressure on a deck like Salamangreats as it would a deck like Sky Strikers, even though Sky Striker does have Wooded Wanker. I mean, there's pros and cons to every archetype in every deck. But I do think with the OTK potential, the Danger variant, the Danger monsters being that good and everything almost, Thunder Dragon Danger is going to be here to stay. Next up, number 2, this should be obvious, Salamangreats. Salamangreats as a deck. Where do I begin? Okay, the only hit that this deck took on a ban list, I don't even believe the deck should have gotten hit, was Lady Debug. Lady Debug is a card, was pretty much the Stratos of the deck. That being the Stratos of the deck, it affected the Salamangreat deck on a minor, minuscule level. And I say minor because a lot of the Salamangreat players have always discussed what card should they run in their deck. Should they run Flame Buffalo, which is the card that allows you to link, and once you resolve your link, you can pick a Cyberse monster to draw 2, or should you run your Salamangreat Lady, not Salamangreat Lady Debug, your Lady Debug, which allows you to search out any Salamangreat in your hand. There's pros and cons to both cards. Lady Debug adding the consistency for your deck and being a 1 card OTK via Transcode Talker. But Flame Buffalo adds consistency in the Artifact Sanctum variant. Ultimately, I'm a little butthurt personally because I like to play Lady Debug in my OTK variant, and it just won me games because it's a 1 card OTK. But with that being said, I can see why they would want to get Salamangreats a slap on the wrist, because it's running the meta in the LCG, it's doing extremely well in the TCG, and Konami as a company is going to want to sell sets. You're going to want to sell their pendulums. They're going to want to sell cards out of the next set. I think no material is going to put a pain in the Salamangreat player's ass, which is why Konami had to hit Lady Debug to make the deck a lot more prone to getting hated on. So with that being said, honestly speaking, I think Salamangreat, outside of it getting hit with Lady Debug, it still has a 1 card Salamangreat Roar. It still has the trap card that pops the stuff on the board. It still has Triple Wolf that allows you to recycle through your materials. It still has everything. The deck's still pretty much at full power. It's good at full power. It's got 1 card that most players didn't run anyway hit. There's no reason for to say why the deck should not be number 2, if not number 1 best deck of the current meta. And then last but not least, the number 1 deck everyone's projecting to be the best deck of the current format is Altergeist. Altergeist being one of the most annoying fucking decks in the world. Annoying. But, you know, it's a fair, well, I'm not even going to say it's a 100% fair deck. Multi-Faker and person spoofing broke the deck in my personal opinion. The fact that Multi-Faker allows you to summon another monster from the deck is dirty, because you bring out your Multi-Faker, which brings out your one Wendigai, Altergeist that allows you to bounce back. That's like a compulsory evacuation device. That's good. The deck has multiple regional tops. A buddy of mine's topped the regionals recently. It has YCS tops, and it stuns very well. Arguably, it was one of the best decks last format. It was beating out Sky Strikers. It was beating out Salamangreats. And it's just like Salads. This is one of the decks that it just dodged the balance. So naturally, this deck is going to be going up in play for the current meta and going on to the next meta. Then, speaking of the next meta, players who's playing this deck can still use things like Phantasme if they want to side deck it in. They have no material. That's going to be another solid card for them to play with. And let's go on. This deck is amazing at stun. It can lock your opponent out of spell cards via Secret Village of Spellcaster. It's a very scary deck. Only really downfall is it kind of loses the red reboot against the OTK decks like Thunder Dragon, so you gotta pick your poison if you want to run a trap heavy deck. And or if you're playing pendulums, you can this deck can easily lose to things like, what's that? The level 4 Thunder that says your opponent can't activate spell and traps when you number summon him. So this is my video on best decks going into the current meta. Put your thoughts and opinions about it in the comment section down below. Like the video. Once again, if you're new here, subscribe for more. Holla at your boy. Peace.